Hello, members of Anytown. My name is Eric Young, and today I'm thrilled to announce my intent to set up and manage a community garden right here in town. I have always wanted to create a community garden, and today I will be presenting my idea on how to create one using sound project management principles and tools for the garden initiative. Let's begin. The purpose of this project is to create a community vegetable garden at Anytown. Our objective? The objective for this project is to produce fresh, tasteful, non-chemical vegetables in the community for the community in order to supplement food budgets. Also, to have a place where the neighborhood can get to know each other and the opportunity for youth groups to participate in planning and running the garden, as well as local educational organizations using the garden as a lab for horticulture, biology, and other science, technology, engineer, and math learning to take place. Finally, we also expect to enhance the nearby property values. So, who is involved in this project? This project is led by me, its project manager, Eric John, our research and development manager, Rafael Nadal, our horticulture consultant, Tom Brady, our neighbor and friend, Fran Neighbor, who is offering his experience in the agriculture industry, and also he's offering to donate his garden tools for our project, reducing us and the community cost. Also, our very important construction worker, Landon Donovan, who will help us constructing the tool shed, the fences, installing our irrigation system, and constructing our concrete ramp for our handicapped members. And last but not least, our volunteers. Remember, without volunteers, this only will be a garden. We need you guys to volunteer, help with this project, and at the end, the volunteers will be the ones managing and involved in this project. What are what are what our goals are? To provide fresh, tasteful, and non-chemical vegetables to the whole Anytown community. We'll produce an equivalent of 2,832 pounds of fresh vegetables that will feed an equivalent of 16 families of 4. Also, we want to create a place where all the neighborhood can go to work together and get to know each other. Our 3,750 square feet garden will serve as a place for all our neighbors to volunteer and help each other harvest our fresh vegetables in our food pantry section. As well as our food demonstration section will be showcasing our other members what are we harvesting and what are we growing in our garden. Educational purposes. Our wonderful neighbor and partner, Fran Neighbor, along with our local schools, we use our experimental area as a lab for youth to teach them on agriculture, horticulture, and biology in general. Also, we want to improve the community's health, wealth, and STEAM knowledge. How? By providing an open space where you can connect with nature and neighbors, which also will provide you fresh, non-chemical vegetables, as well as aiming to increase nearby property values, and last but not least, create gardener families. So, here is our work breakdown structure. You can see our 4 goals there, and below that, you'll find the task needed in order to complete those goals. So First, we have to provide fresh, tasteful, and non-chemical vegetables to the whole Anytown community. We need, as I said, find volunteers. Without volunteers, this project won't work. So we need you to participate and get involved in this project. Also, even though our friend, neighbor will provide us garden tools, we also need to buy additional resources needed. We need to prepare the soil, install irrigation system, train volunteers, plant the seeds, and we will get an FDA approval for the safety of all the community. So we can ingest safe and FDA approved vegetables for the whole community. A place where the community can work together, learn, and get to know each other. How are we going to do that? We're going to install fences that comply with the requirements of the community and the city, and also they will be attractive, as well as our signage. We will also construct a concrete ramp for handicap members that will connect the entrance to the seating area. We will set a seating area with tent and seats donated by our neighbors, and we'll paint parking lot lines. Educational purposes. Once approved, we will schedule a Day at the Garden event at our experimental area for all our youth groups. We'll work with the Anytown High School, with the Anytown Middle School, and also with the University of Anytown. And we'll train volunteers to do this. Improve the community's health, wealth, and STEAM knowledge. We'll enhance value of nearby properties. We'll offer an agriculture class at the library. We'll offer as well outdoor activities at our garden. And as a result of all these, all the community will have non-chemical vegetables who will improve your wealth and your health. Here is the network diagram of all the tasks that need to be done, when they need to be done, and what is our critical path. Here is all the tasks that are mentioned on the work breakdown structure, but with the dates. Important dates as today, April 7th, the project presentation, and hopefully your approval. Also, another important day is April 22nd, that is plant the seeds in the food pantry and food demonstration section. That will be an important day because almost all the vegetables need 12 weeks to harvest. So obviously we need to do some tasks before planting, as preparing the soil, installing irrigation system, constructing the compost beds. But as soon as we can get the seeds planted, the better. Another important date is the FDA inspection and approval on July 15th. As I said, we want to produce, as well as fresh, non-chemical, and tasteful. We want them to be safe for all our community. So we'll get the FDA approval on our products. We will have the first Anytown Association President visit on July 26th, and our garden inauguration will be on September the 1st. After that, we will get our first Anytown Middle School garden visit, our first Anytown High School garden visit on September the 12th and October the 2nd, respectively. And on November the 1st, we'll have our annual picnic analyzing the results of this project and presenting our improved plans for the next year. And on November 22nd, we'll prepare for winter, covering up the garden, protecting it for severe winter conditions so it doesn't get affected and we can use it without any problem next year.
Our resource plan. First, as you can see in the budget table, in the middle inferior side of the slide, you can see all the resources needed in order to start this project with its corresponding cost. And as I said, we're working inside of the budget for a total of $2,000 for all the resources needed. As you can see, the signage, the seeds, irrigation system, tool shed, fences, compost, mulch. The mulch will be to define the pathways. Is a different material that looks better and also makes easier for us to walk into. The fertilizers, the pesticides, the awning is similar to a tent but for the plants, and the compost boxes for a total of $2,000. On the inferior left of the slide, you'll find a monthly expense. So I'm gonna explain what is this monthly expense table. Basically, what we need is the association approval on a charge that will be applied to all our Anytown community families of 18 with 80 cents, but this charge will only be applied for all our families of Anytown only on our harvest month, meaning that we will only charge you, the members of Anytown, on June, July, and August a total of $18 with 80 cents for this garden to maintain its productivity on our harvest month, which I said that are June, July, and August. The monthly expenses will be compost, fertilizers, the water expense, and the mulch for a total of $300 per month. If we divide these for all our families of this community, will be only $18 with 80 cents. On the upper side of this slide, you will find the plants production table where we are showing you what are we planning to plant in our garden, which will be cucumber, coriander, eggplant, lettuce, onion, spinach, sweet potato, and watermelon, with its corresponding production per pound, the square feet occupied, and the quantity of plants that we are planning to get from each of these vegetables. And on the right inferior side of the slide, you'll find the land breakdown, which I'll be talking a little more on the next slide.
Here, I did a croquette of the community vegetable garden, if approved, for our Anytown community. So first, we'll have our parking lot in the inferior part of the croquette. We will have two handicap parking lots for our handicap members, and as I said, a ramp for our handicap members which connect the entrance to the seating area. On the left side of the croquet, you will find our food demonstration area. That is where will be where events and school visits will take place to explain our youth groups how our planting and how and which vegetables are being harvested in our garden. Right next to it, you'll find the tool shed where we'll be storing all our tools donated by our friend neighbor so we can use it on a yearly basis. On the upper left part, you'll find the experimental area that I said that will be for our youth groups and educational organizations like the universities, high school, and middle school to work with our kids and youth to work on their own project. So they can, all this experimental area will be compost beds, empty, so they can have their own vegetable harvest and they can have their own project. And on the right side of the croquet, you'll find our food pantry section in which we'll be harvesting vegetables, tasteful and non-chemical vegetables, for our whole community. Here is our resource plan. Here is our red RASI diagram with the activities and tasks that I already talked about in the work breakdown structure and in our schedule. It's just reflecting who is in charge of which task. So important tasks, as I said, like the training of employees will be our garden mentor, friend neighbor. The FDI inspection will be guided by me. The garden showcase for our president's supervisor will be guided by me as well. And our Anytown garden visit from our high school and middle school will be guided by our horticultural consultant, Tom Brady. The risk assessment. The risk, I'm going to explain them and put them in the 9-box risk. The first one, no rain. It's very critical for the program and it's very likelihood to happen. But we will have installed an irrigation system for all our food pantry and food demonstration section, so the vegetables can grow with enough water. Bad harvest, it's a moderate critical to the program and it's very high likelihood to happen, but bad harvests can at least provide seeds which can be used next year for our next year harvest, and we won't need to buy more. Not enough vegetables for the whole community. This will be a moderate critical to the program as well, and the likelihood will be low, but if we don't have enough vegetables for the whole community, we'll give them a chance for early summer vegetables next year, and also we'll promise them a compost bed to harvest their own vegetable next year. Severe winter conditions. This will be very high critical to the program and the likelihood will be moderate. We'll use a covered top for the whole garden for the winter. Not enough volunteers. This will be high critical to the program, and the likelihood will be moderate. I hope that is moderate. As I said, with no volunteers, there is no project. If we find some volunteers but not enough, we'll hire one or two workers at our expenses the first year. Thief and vandalism. This will be moderate critically to the program and the likelihood will be low, but if this happens, we will install cameras at the entrance and exit of the garden. Handicap visitor, this will be low for the critical of the program and the likelihood will be moderate, but anyways, we'll have two parking lots slots for our handicap members and a ramp so they can access to our garden and access to our seating area. Our communication plan, all the managers will have a meeting on Wednesday at 2 p.m. on Google Meet. We'll talk about the progress of the garden, what are the tasks that needs to be done, what are the tasks that are in progress, and what are the next upcoming tasks that needs to be done as well. You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter for upcoming events and weekly gatherings. Also, an online blog will be available in which our community can share their opinions of our garden. And finally, we'll have a newsletter where also you can see what's been growing, what are the upcoming activities, and where and when is the next day at the garden for your school. The team development plan. So first, we'll train our volunteers. Our friend neighbor will train them. We'll we'll have a field training for our volunteers, and also our horticulture consultant will be there helping friend neighbor to train our volunteers. Agricultural classes will take place at the library, and after this, volunteers will handle the garden once seeds are planted. Our garden mentor will guide the school visits. Me, I will be guiding important tours, as I said, for the FDA and for the association president. Our construction worker will have two volunteers to helping with all the tasks needed for the project. Also, only members, I want to clarify, only members of the Anytown community will be allowed. Our research and development manager will read members' opinions on our blog and social media accounts on how to improve our garden and what other vegetables can be grown.
So here we are at our project closeout in our annual picnic on November 1st. We were looking forward to this date since we started with the idea of creating this community garden. And today we are thrilled and very happy to announce that our goals were met. We produced an equivalent of 2,832 pounds of fresh vegetables that is feeding our whole community, and it is also supplementing an equivalent of 5% of your food budget. I want to thank to all the volunteers that help us get through this project and our members and our managers that also were part of this project. So I just want to analyze some events that took place in our garden. We had two visits from our Anytime High School, and two visits as well from our middle school, and one important project from the University of Anytown also took place in our garden. More than 20 volunteers were trained and now are capable of running and planning our project, and they will be the ones responsible of this garden next year. How are we preparing for winter? On November 22nd, we'll be covering our whole garden in preparing for several winter conditions, and we'll close this garden until spring of next year. What are the expectations for next year? Well, we plan to start earlier the next year. This year we started on April. That is when the association approved this project. But on next year, we're planning to start earlier. We will plant the seeds earlier to get more harvest and more pounds of production of vegetables. Our last gathering before winter closure will be today, and as a celebration for all the goals met of this project, today we'll have an exchange of recipes and different vegetables uses, so you members of Anytown can have different recipes on different vegetable uses for all the vegetables that we're providing, and this will take place on a yearly basis. Thank you all for believe in this project, and we're looking forward to start and have more vegetables harvest next year. Thank you so much.